What's going on, Port fans? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be previewing round 17. It's Port Adelaide versus Brisbane at the GABBA this Saturday night at 7:05 p.m. It's going to be a big game. It's a big game in the context of the season for both of these clubs, and one that is definitely going to prove costly for the other if they lose. It's definitely a game of football that leans towards the Brisbane Lions, because let me tell you, playing the GABBA against the Lions, who are in the top two, it's never easy, it's never fun, it's never enjoyable, especially if you're Port Adelaide, because the last three times we played there especially, it's just been absolutely, well, boring, really. Unless you're a Brisbane fan, then it's exciting. But yeah, a game of football that must be won by Port Adelaide if they want to keep this finals tilt alive. 2 games out with a bit of percentage as well. It definitely proves a mighty task. And against the Lions outfield, who are coming off a bye, who have just played a great game against Geelong Cats at GMHBA Stadium the week before. They flexed the muscles, the Lions, and I think, coming up against them in this type of format, it can prove either one way. We're either absolutely going to get beaten, or we win. The Lions this year have been an interesting side, because they've lost a couple of games they probably shouldn't have lost. They've lost games at the GABBA. Geelong and Melbourne come to mind in particular. They've played scrappy games. They haven't played really a complete game of football, other than probably the game against Hawthorn at the MCG and the game against the Cats at GMHBA. They are gettable. And I'm not going to say they're gettable as in we're going to win this game, I'm so excited. I'm going to say they're gettable because results have proven otherwise. But if there's ever a side to time their run to perfection and get it absolutely perfectly right going into the back end of the year, it's Brisbane. And whilst I know they've got some star power, Harris Andrews down back, Hugh McLuggage, Dane Zorko, Logan Morris has been a star this year, Charlie Cameron can turn it on whenever he feels like, Lockie Neal's a 2-time Brownlow medalist. They have these players, they add the Ashcrofts, they have exciting youngsters and measured performers in prime time age. The elder statesmen are proving time and time again they're elite, and I'm not going to shy away from that. They are a superstar team, and if I look at the comparisons between the two this year, the Lions love to have more possession. They possess 369 disposals on average per game, whereas Port only average 357. It's the same sort of inside 50s. So the Lions like to get a little bit more. It's the efficiency inside 50 that really is intriguing to me, because Brisbane have a 48% efficiency inside 50, and so do Port Adelaide. And disposal efficiency is about the same at 72. So you just know that these two sides, when they get going really, really well. And with the Brisbane Lions having their elite midfield, they average 41 clearances a year, whereas Port Adelaide only average 37 per game. And if there's one thing Port Adelaide need to fix up, it's the stoppage clearances. It's a massive discrepancy between what we win at the centre clearance compared to what we win at stoppage clearances. And on average, Brisbane average 29 for a game, and Port Adelaide 27. So yeah, it's an interesting topic, because the Lions and Port Adelaide midfields, you look at Port's midfield and you go far out. Rosie can come off half-back to play in the midfield. Bergman's signed this year, and a fantastic achievement for Miles Bergman. We're all happy, ecstatic for it, and a fantastic signature to get. And it's just amazing that we've signed him. He's locked in for 2 years, part of the leadership group. He's been an exceptional performer time and time this year, and I really, really love that he's turned a leaf to say, hey, I'm going to stay at Port Adelaide. I love the culture. The boys are connected. They're young. We've got a lot of upside, and I love that from Miles. And he's going to be a massive beast in protecting our inside, in our midfielders. Butters and also Horn Francis when he goes in there, Drew, and we know Bergman has taken more of a role on getting onto one of the senior midfielders. Took Cripps. He took Dawson earlier in the year. Who does he take this week? Is it McLuggage? Does he run with McLuggage this week? Does he take Lockie Neal? It's interesting what sort of matchup he may get this week, but it's the clearance work in the midfield that's going to be the big difference for me, because getting first access inside 50, both these clubs know how to use the footy. Not quite sure what they do when they get inside 50. So it's a territory battle. I think this will be where the most intriguing game is. I look at the contested possessions throughout the year. Brisbane average 133 compared to Port only 122. So we really need to be a contested beast. And I look at the game against the Crows, where Brisbane had so many opportunities to win that game and they didn't. The Crows stuck at it. They won the contested work and they kept putting pressure on around the ground at the stoppages, and they really were really tight there, and they didn't let Brisbane have any sort of opportunity, which is going to be the integral part of this game. And if we can do that, if we can match it, and the other parties, we have to match it for 4 quarters. It can't just be 2 or 3 or 1. It has to be 4. And I look at a game like the Bulldogs earlier in the year. We did it for 1 quarter, ended up getting pumped. I look at the game against Geelong. Did it for a half, got pumped. It's the same deal. This is a game that could very much end up being like what those games could be, or it could be one of the great wins where we turn up like we did against Hawthorn, like we did for the showdown, even though we lost. Those types of games where we respond. And we talk about the consistency at Port Adelaide. It's been a topic, it's been a talking point. Butters has talked about it in the media. The coach has talked about it in the media. Boakey, post-game last week, talked about it in his interview. The club needs to find out what it is. And if they magically discover what the inconsistency is around the group and they turn up on Saturday night and they put in a great performance, they can win this game of football. Port Adelaide's best is good enough to match it. It's just a matter of applying it every single week. And we don't. And that's why we're in the position we are. So, we talk about the team this week. Fairly unchanged lineup. Ollie Wines seems to be getting through okay, so should be available, I reckon. And if he does come back in, it's fantastic. Helps our contested ball work massively. I think Lukosius will play as well and looks all but guaranteed to play, which leaves, I think, one of the ruckmen going out. I think Jordan Sweet will be unlucky to miss out. I think Dante's work last week and the fact that he didn't get a week for blocking Adam Sard, I think Dante's first preference, and unfortunately Jordan Sweet goes back out. So Lukosius for Sweet's probably a guaranteed swap. If Wines comes in, I would say Liddy goes out. That's just a feeling for me. I think whilst he had a great game last week, 11 possessions, and his possessions, whilst only 11, you noticed those 11 possessions from Manny Liddy. But I think maybe he goes out. It could be a possibility that he becomes the sub and someone else goes out. But I don't see them dropping Jackson. I don't see them dropping any of the youngsters. And unless there's an injury on the track going into the rest of the week, I would strongly say that the change will be just the one. And if Wines is fit, we'll have 2. Liddy will probably be the unfortunate one to miss out. So we'll wait and see on what that brings. But for now, I'm very impressed with how we're looking, and it's going to be a very interesting matchup and a game that I'm very nervous about but eagerly anticipating, because this week, whilst I will tip the lines, we'll do the reverse psychology again, see if that works. I will tip the lines. I do have a feeling that this Port Adelaide side, 3 of the last 4 weeks, whilst the Sydney game was terrible, there's been a bit of a change, and that change, if it's true, will turn up on Saturday night, and that's what I'm anticipating and hoping for. So we'll see how it goes. But for now, let's enjoy what's to come, and hopefully it's a good game of footy. If we just give our all, give 100%, and Brisbane win by 2 or 3 goals, I think I might walk away impressed. But for now, I'm just hoping we win, because if we win this, then I'm all of a sudden opening the eyes, and September just all of a sudden starts to become a little bit more believable. So Port fans, leave a comment below on your thoughts for this game. It's going to be a massive game Saturday night away from home at the GABBA. It's these types of games that if you win, galvanises the group even more. And they talk about connection, they talk about wanting to put the nip in the butt of this consistency. This is a game you must win, and I'll very much be intriguingly watching this one. But to say the least, go ThePear. Hopefully we get the job done. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you're new for plenty more Port Adelaide and AFL content to come your way. Check out the Miles Bergman video. Check out the Glass Table latest episode as well. And we'll look forward to seeing you for the review on Sunday. Thank you so much for watching once again. My name's Anthony, and as always, go ThePear.